So, what is tapping on the Buddha? It's a workshop I've done, but please don't click away quite yet. Um, there's something that's been really on my heart a lot, especially of late, and that's the idea of, you know, self help, personal development, tapping, all the emotional healing isn't supposed to be a life's work. It's not supposed to go on gone endlessly. This isn't a treadmill. There's an end point, a point at which uh, there's no more need for it. The emotions have been healed. The 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 beliefs, the assumptions, the traumas, they've all been released. They're gone, and you don't need all of the techniques anymore. That may sound strange to say because we get so used to it. We get so uh, um, adapted to the idea that self-help and self-fixing are just an endless road. And or if you're, into the law of attraction, like it's just one desire after this fulfilled, and another one, and then another one. Like there's just this endless stream. Shiva's wheel just keeps turning, and it's not supposed to be like that. And if we really believe it's gonna be our experience. It's going to happen that way. There's always going to be something else we can come up with that needs to be fixed. But what if, just consider the possibility that there's an end game, that there's a state that can be arrived at of emotional healing that doesn't need any more techniques, doesn't need any more fixing. You're fixed. You're done, right? Or at least you've gotten to such a place of equanimity that when something arises that would have been troublesome in the past, it's just regarded with equanimity. And oh, yeah, there's just another old habit, and it passes away very quickly. It doesn't engage. Got to process it. Got to dig in and do the work. Right? Now, I'm not saying that don't do any work. Right? You can't leapfrog it. Right? You can't just jump to the head of the line. And this takes time. But if we realize that that is the goal and it is possible, then we're in a really good state. Suddenly now, it isn't just fixing one thing after another, waiting for the next problem to come up or group of problems to come up. It's like there's an end point that all of this is serving, and that every time we do relax something, we release some trauma or some pain, so we feel that sense of relief, it's actually pointing to a state that is no longer in need of it. It's pointing to a state where that's the default. Emotional health and sense of well-being are the default. They're always there. That's what I've embodied in this workshop that I've put together. And the reason I call it tapping on the Buddha is because the Buddha is a really interesting image. Nobody made a picture of him at the time. Nobody took a photo, right? So this is what he looks like. So these are all the images we see of this guy just completely calm, at peace, little half smile, kind of. He's just like totally content. Is not meant to be somebody 100 years ago or 2,500 years ago, but it's supposed to represent that in you, which is the state we arrive at. This is the place we can get to. I don't want to move. I don't have to go through all that. Yeah. Well, it's probably going to pick it up. Yeah. Let's see if I can remember where I am and get move it as little as possible and get back into it after I've turned this. Forgot about that. Off. There we go. I used the image of tapping on the Buddha to represent the, the position, the attitude I'm taking towards this whole emotional healing thing. And that is that underneath all of our conditioning, and our programming, and our traumas, and our difficulties, and all our problems, that there was something there before all. There was something there that was not conditioned, that was not burdened with problems, that it was not for, walking that treadmill of perpetual self-fixing. There was nothing wrong with it. It was completely unbroken, and got laid over on top with conditioning, all this stuff that we have, the enculturation, the effect of parents and ancestral, all of it gets laid on top of something that was, in fact, in the beginning, absolutely complete, perfect, and whole. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And so, in this workshop, what I'm attempting to do is to use tapping as a way of bringing oneself back to that state, rather than just fixing one problem after another, but bringing someone, each one of those problems brings you a step closer to an ultimate goal, which is a default state of safety and well-being. That's what I've attempted to do. There's a name for it, right? There's a name for it that we're all using these days. And I want to be my authentic self. What I really believe with all my heart is that your true authentic self is actually already there, but has been covered up by all the conditioning. And we feel that. There's times when you just know something is right for you, or you know something is wrong for you, and you act on it. You move it. There's an inner conviction that isn't coming from the outside saying, this is okay for you, this is a right thing. That's all the conditioning. But something intuitive, something deep inside that says, yes when you mean yes, and no when you mean no. It knows. It doesn't have to learn. It just knows. And I say it, I'm talking you. I'm talking the essence of you that has simply been covered up. It's you, it's there, it's still you. And I use the image of the Buddha to represent that which is already there. So while we're tapping on any given problem or anything that happens to arise, the fact of the matter is your true authentic self is already there. It's already there, which means we're literally tapping on the true authentic self. Not who you think you are, not the conditioning, not the problems, none of that, but actually tapping on the Buddha, your true nature, who you really, really are. This workshop has got, it's a mixture of teaching where I kind of go over conditioning and the like, and I also do some suggestions for turning tapping into a practice of transformation rather than just a problem-solving tool. I talk about what your true nature actually is, and I do a lot of presence tapping. It's all presence tapping. Right? I don't do any of the traditional stuff of EFT because I'm not trying to solve a specific problem. I'm trying to instead recondition your nervous system. It's kind of like, when you do there's conditioning exercises, right? It can be walking or jogging or dancing or aerobics or any number, riding a bike, any number of things that are conditioning for the cardiovascular system. And at first, it's kind of hard if you're a bit out of shape. But after a while, you become more and more conditioned, more and more. So it becomes easier and easier and easier. Take that same idea and apply it to our nervous system using tapping as the reconditioning element to bring us out of a state of perpetual fixing into a state that over time becomes the default state. It's the baseline where you start. That I do feel a sense of safety. I do feel a sense of contentment. I don't feel the same need to be fixing all the time or to be worried all the time. It's just not there. My whole baseline of well-being has raised. Now that's a worthwhile endeavor. You know that when you start on a program for conditioning your cardiovascular system, that if you stay with it and do it regularly, consistently, you will get the results. You will get to this place where things become easy that once were hard. Same is true here. We are reconditioning the system. That's what the whole program is about. So I'm hoping that didn't sound like too much of a pitch. I've worked on this for quite a while, trying to just refine it and make it do this. And also that message that, guess what? This, self-help, self-fixing, personal development, they're not forever. They're only steps on the path, and there is an end goal in which all of the tools and stuff, as valuable as they are, can be set aside. And you just are naturally free and whole with a sense of well-being, a sense of engagement, a sense of presence in your own life, and a power, a conviction that can say, you know what, this isn't for me, and that's it. And all the social pressure, conditioning just can't touch it. Right? It's like, no, this isn't for me. They're just in touch with your true, authentic nature in such a way that there's a conviction, there's an authority, a power, a confidence behind it. That's my mission, folks. That's my mission. And I so hope that you will, just checking the sound there for a second. I'm so hoping you'll join me on this little journey. Self-help, Jeez, it's not self-help. It's self-paced. Okay? It's pre-recorded, so you can go through at any pace. All of the presence tapping are available as MP3s, so you can download them and do them wherever you happen to be. You don't have to be focused all the time. It lays out some ways in which you can tap more during the day, without looking so strange in public, as well as how to turn it into a regular practice, something you do all the time, regularly, as a reconditioning of the nervous system, just like you do exercises to recondition your cardiovascular system. So I hope you'll join me in it. I hope you'll take me up on it. It's not expensive. And that's that. I hope you enjoyed this and got a lot out of it. And it's an awful long video for just trying to talk about a course, but there's so much around this that's really important. I just wanted to make an interesting video as well, and not just something that said, hey, take my course. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Namaste.